Welcome back. For almost 8 years, Pam Bondi has served as the Attorney General of Florida. Due to term limits, she cannot run again, but she's already thrown her support behind the person she hopes to succeed her. Bondi has endorsed Ashley Moody, a former judge of the 13th Judicial Court Circuit of Florida. Ashley Moody joins us now on Facing South Florida. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thanks for letting me stop by.
No problem. So we mentioned the sitting Attorney General of the state of Florida. In fact, you have quite a bit in common with Pam Bondi as far as both being University of Florida and Stetson graduates, both being assistant state attorneys. You went on to serve on the bench, but Ms. Bondi has said of you, no one will outwork you. So how do you plan to work for the people of Florida?
Well, she's correct. I have been working hard. In fact, I say now my daily goal is to not fall asleep while I'm standing up. It's just been quite the whirlwind on the campaign. But, you know, my background, I actually started off, I have a degree in accounting, a master's of accounting and law degree from the University of Florida, and then a master's of law, international law from Stetson. And I actually started off practicing law as a business defense attorney with Holland & Knight, one of the state's largest law firms, and then was a federal prosecutor. And that was one thing that Attorney General Pam Bondi and I had different in our backgrounds. She was a state prosecutor and I was a federal prosecutor. And then I became a state circuit court judge. I was on the bench for over a decade before I had to give up my position. I had to resign my position in order to run for the office of Attorney General. So it has been quite the whirlwind of a year, as you can imagine. My husband is a career law enforcement officer, so we are in this together as I seek the role of top cop. He has been extremely supportive. I'm also a mother, and balancing statewide candidacy with motherhood is certainly a challenge, but he has made it much easier.
So how are you going to use that background, both with how you studied, being a mother, a wife, and being married to a law enforcement officer, to serve the people of this state?
Well, you know, as the top cop, the top prosecutor, it is important that we have someone in that role that has worked alongside law enforcement, understands how to prosecute difficult cases. Personally, I have family involved in that profession, and I understand what a noble and difficult, dangerous profession that is, and I'm extremely supportive and a vocal supporter of law enforcement. The same protective instincts I have as a mother, I will bring to the office as the Attorney General. I'm the only one in this race running that has prosecuted a case, running to be the top prosecutor. And it is so important that we have someone in this role that will carry on the good work of Attorney General Bondi, ensuring that we have someone that will enforce the rule of law and defend the Constitution.
So let's talk about those specific issues. On health care specifically, do you support the plan to end protections for consumers with pre-existing conditions?
You know, that is going to be up to Congress and how they deal with that issue. The Attorney General is going to be charged with enforcing the rule of law. Certainly, the Attorney General is also charged with the responsibility of ensuring that we as a state and our ability to have autonomy and declare what is best for our state is protected. And the Attorney General is responsible for that, and I'll be a guardian of that.
On gun control, I understand that you are a supporter of the Second Amendment and believe in the right of the people to keep and bear arms. It's a touchy subject here, specifically in South Florida, following the massacre at Marjory Stoneman Douglas back in February. And immediately after that, Governor Rick Scott passed a 3-day waiting period for the purchase of all firearms and raising the age to buy a gun from 18 to 21. Are these changes that you support?
You are correct. I am a strong supporter that we protect the freedoms and rights ensured in our Constitution. I think it's one of the things that has kept our country so strong for over 200 years, that we always go back to protecting the individual rights that are guaranteed to our citizens. I am a mother of an elementary school student. Along with all parents of children in schools, understand that their safety is of paramount importance. There is a body right now led by Sheriff Gualtieri from St. Petersburg who has also endorsed me. I've been endorsed by almost 90% of the Republican sheriffs across the state of Florida and the statewide law enforcement organizations. There is no one that will focus on those recommendations and ensure that they are implemented and ensure that we carry out the plans of addressing all of where we fell short and leading up to that tragic incident in Parkland.
But specifically those changes that the governor made regarding that 3-day waiting period and raising the age from 18 to 21, is that something that you are comfortable with keeping in effect, or is that something that you would have supported as if you had been Attorney General currently?
There was parts of that legislation that was good. In fact, they were trying to make changes to how we'd get guns out of the hands of those that are going to do harm to others. There was addressing how we can make sure that our schools are shored up and safe. And I do support that part of the legislation. I think it was a mistake to blanketly ban firearms for 18 to 21-year-olds. The hard work is going to become, how do we look at what went wrong? How do we take the recommendations and implement them in our schools? And you've got to have strong leadership to do that. Historically, over the course of my career, I have set out objectives to ensure our process, our judicial system is fair, that it is improved, that our processes are efficient, that we're not wasting taxpayer money. I will do that in the course of making sure that we implement the recommendations and protections to our school, and I will do that as a strong Attorney General, a strong top cop in Florida.
A major issue in the state of Florida right now, as we're winding down here, not been spared here by the opioid epidemic. The current Attorney General is saying 15 Floridians die a day because of opioids. You say that you would take a data-based attack on the opioid epidemic. What would that look like?
Well, what we need to do is have a coordinated statewide effort where we look at what is effective and the ways that we've been trying to attack this. And we've done different things in different communities throughout Florida, but I can tell you, as a former federal drug prosecutor, as the wife of a DEA agent, there is no one better prepared to lead this effort and passionate about this effort. I am convinced that if we can bring together the experts in this area, the sheriffs that have already tried things throughout the state, the community leaders that are specializing in addiction across the state, that we can develop a plan to direct our resources and our efforts to a way to bring this number down. I'm a numbers person. I was trained in accounting. I can assure you at the end of 4 years, the people of the state of Florida will see progress, and I will make a difference in the opioid epidemic.
Ashley Moody, candidate for Attorney General. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back after this break.